Hello, New York. This is One Bryant Park, aka Bank of America's tower. It is a 55-story, 2 million plus square foot state of the art building. Construction was completed on it in 2009. That's just 15 years ago. And at that time, it was considered a state of the art model for sustainable architecture. It was one of the most environmentally friendly buildings in the world, with a LEED Platinum rating, the highest rating possible. In fact, at the time, it was the only building that achieved LEED Platinum status. It has a wind turbine in that spire up top. It makes electricity. It makes ice in the evenings when electricity is least expensive and when demand is low. And then that ice is used to cool the building during the daytime. It collects and reuses rainwater. It has a natural gas-fired cogeneration plant to generate heat and electricity. However, the building's largest tenant, Bank of America, is a big operation, and it operates 24/7. It has huge trading floors, and because of B of A's intensive use of their space, the building uses significantly more energy than most do. So this building, constructed to be a model of sustainability, is now considered to be a dirty building that emits too much carbon into the atmosphere. You know, data centers are electricity intensive too, and they're treated and looked at differently. I would say that financial services are a pretty important part of our economy and maybe should be looked at differently as well. But that's a discussion for another time. In 2019, the New York City Council passed Local Law 97. Its intent was to reduce carbon emissions in New York City. And since buildings are the largest emitters of carbon, it was decided that they should move away from fossil fuels and instead use electricity to heat and cool them. Furthermore, that electricity must come from sustainable sources such as wind, solar, or hydroelectric power. Looking at Bryant Park. But the glide path for the implementation of Local Law 97 was and is very aggressive, and the fines for non-compliance are extremely punitive to building owners who do not meet specific emissions targets by specific dates. So Queens Councilman is currently seeking to slash fines for about 10% of the 50,000 buildings covered by the climate law. Many people believe that reducing carbon emissions is important and a good thing and a laudable effort, and I certainly agree. But the time period for implementation needs to be realistic and achievable. A little side note, the city, when they enacted this law, exempted city-owned buildings from the punitive fines associated with not complying with Local Law 97. They still have to comply, but they won't be fined. That's kind of hypocritical to me. I think that should be changed. All buildings should be treated the same. The city can't have different rules for itself. A few other things to consider while we're talking about this. Our regional electrical grid can currently handle all the electric power needed to heat and cool every building in New York City. Currently, there's nowhere near the amount of sustainably sourced power needed to heat and cool all of the buildings in New York City. And lastly, what happens if there is a huge ice storm in the middle of winter and much of the grid goes down for a prolonged period of time? There would need to be a backup system for heat. Otherwise, you'd have a serious life safety issue. Storage batteries come to mind. So what do you think of Local Law 97? Should it be slowed down, the implementation, until the grid, the generation, and the owners can reasonably comply with its goals? Should there be incentive programs and special financing programs available to encourage and enable compliance? Or should the City Council retain the draconian penalties to push building owners to comply even though it's going to hurt? Let me know what you think on this one in the comments. I'd really be interested to hear what people's thoughts are on this. Have a great day.